Oh, he's coming to do it. I'm messing with you. I've known him for enough years that I can mess with him. W. Kamau Bell is here. Thank you all for being here. Kamau, thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. All right, so the way this works is you guys have done it except for Kamau. We just kibitz. We talk about some of the news of the week. I have individual questions for all of you. You'll talk, and then we'll open it up and all chime in. So come out. I'm gonna let you go first. I sent you the rant. Trump went on a rant. Go figure. Go figure.
Which one?
Go figure. On Truth Social last night, a 500-word rant about all the people reporting on his health, on his deteriorating health. The guy who has had MRIs and can't tell you on what. But they're the best MRIs that were ever taken, that anybody ever had. The best MRIs ever, but he can't tell you what he had them for. And he has said, and I'm paraphrasing, that anybody who reports on or talks about his health, he will sue for defamation or for slander. So my question is, because you look at him and he does. I hate to say it look like death walking, but it looks like death walking. I mean, it's like his hands like rotten, his ankles are swollen. He was, there was a scene in the White House, a clip I saw where he was getting ready to walk into a wall, and Mike Johnson had to like turn him to the side and stuff. I mean, he's not looking good. So the question is this: if he is as sick as most people are saying he is, and he dies, what happens? What happens? Is that the end? Is that the end of MAGA? What happens?
I guess this all depends. How close are we to being North Korea? Because that's how it goes down. If we're fully North Korea, then his son just takes over and we all just accept that that's what it is and we keep moving on. If we're not North Korea and we still have the semblance of a democracy, then J.D. Vance is not the guy. We all know that J.D. Vance is not the guy. He's not nobody buys J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance does not even buy J.D. Vance. So what it does do is it creates a power vacuum. And in that power vacuum, I'm not interested in any of those suspects. And then whatever the Democratic Party is, I don't know if we can fast track Mamdani to the presidency because he's the most charismatic leader they have. But you have to then find somebody on the left who is actually capable to bring this country to bring the eligible voters together, because it's not the whole country, just the people who show up to vote.
All right, let me ask this before I open it up to everybody.
No, you said one question, Brian. I'm not asking two questions.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
I gotta go. You said not to stand up. I'm standing up, Brian.
Stand up and leaving. I'm gonna piggyback this on what it is that you said, and that is. If in fact there is a power vacuum, is there any possibility that we can go back? Because George W. Bush is getting together with some of the old guard, real Republicans.
He's painting their feet. He's not. There's no going back. I don't think there's any. Who do you go back to? Who's the person?
I'm talking about the system, the way that things were before this. This shit bomb got thrown in the middle.
If there's anything we've learned is that that the system wasn't actually working, because we believed. I mean, I don't know about you all, but I believe that turning in your tax forms was a part of the law of running for presidency. The president. Sure. I thought that was just a thing you had to do. Trump proved it is not. I thought having a licensed physician that we all trusted and believed in, giving your medical records, was a part of the system. We found out it was some weed doctor in Queens who said Trump was the healthiest 6'2" man he'd ever seen, whatever he said.
Now do Kavanaugh Supreme Court.
Yeah, so there's all these things. I mean, let's even go before Trump. I thought the system said that Obama could put a Supreme Court justice on the court at any time until Mitch McConnell said, not this time, not this time. Yeah, so I think the idea being that, like, the system, we can't go. I think, if anything, if we're serious, we go back and install the system we should have had in the first place. I need all your financial records. We need to have an independent group do your medical records. And we need to have some sense to examine that the person who's running for president isn't compromised in any way.
And on top of that, let's add that all of your assets, all of your money, all of your businesses have to be either have to divest yourself or they got to be in a blind trust. Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm, for God's sake. Had to sell his peanut farm. Here's the problem. The problem is that all these things were norms and they weren't laws. So the first way, if we want to try to go back, is all the norms need to be codified into law. That you can't knock down half the White House because you want a ballroom.
I think the norms changed because the funding changed. Citizens United, and now the billionaires run the show. I agree with Kamau. I think our system is just demolished. I'm a 49er fan. We are Brandon Ayuk's knee. MCL, ACL, it's shattered. It'll never be like it was before. I don't know if it's worth fixing. Who knows? Yeah, it's damaged. We've got terminal cancer right now, and who knows how long we live, because it's kind of scary.
Well, I hate to be positive because I hate people, but I really do have a positive message here. I think people who support him are seeing that this anti-immigration, anti-healthcare, anti-union, anti-human being stance isn't working overall. And I think the pendulum's I don't think we're going to go back. I think we're going to move forward. And we're going to move. I really feel this. If this piece of shit could die, I mean, I don't wish that, but you can't wish that. It's Irish Catholic.
You were going to get a call from the Secret Service for that. I don't wish it. I'm serious.
Weirdly, you'll get the call. She won't get the call.
You meant of natural causes peacefully.
Yeah.
I'll just say these black men and this guy named Carlos forced me to say it. I'm a sweet white woman.
Yes, we'll believe the white woman always.
Yeah,
always.
You're going to be on Erica Kirk's Turning Point Town Hall.
Oh my God, I'm going to totally produce her podcast. So anyway, but I do think people, like we saw a shift in Miami where it's a ceremonial position, but the mayor there is the first Democrat elected in 30 years. And what's funny is her name's Eileen Higgins. I'm Maureen Langan. She said people couldn't say her name there, so she calls herself La Gringa, which is fine. I don't know how hard
La Gringa.
It doesn't matter. It worked for her. And that's a big Republican voting bloc. So that's very hopeful, even though it's a ceremony.
Georgia too. The same thing happened. You had a Georgia state representative flip a seat that had been a Republican seat for decades in a ruby red district. So
I think this is good. And Jersey, my beloved Garden State where I grew up, we got Mikey, Cheryl, and I always want to say Mickey, but it's Mikey. Virginia. So these are good signs. And I think particularly in brown communities, like large Cuban population in Miami, they go, oh, whoa, I thought we were the good brown people. They're taking all of us, you know? Well, we supported, we did the right thing. And if you look at today, they mapped out the number of people arrested and deported in certain areas. And it's infinitesimal, the number of those who were criminals versus those who are just working and doing their thing here. So I think we're going to move forward. I think so.
But I think to move forward, though, I still think we can't have the current leadership of the Democratic Party be in charge of moving forward. I mean,
sure, like the Schumers and the Pelosi's. And
thank you.
No, that generation.
Pelosi.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you,
like
Nancy
Pelosi.
But thank you for please understanding that, like,
the old guard.
And I can say this now. I'm officially AARP certified. You just get to be too old to do some things.
What did he say? No.
Do you take the discounts? Because they said on your 50th birthday they said it to you, and I just refuse to take the discounts because I'm not 65.
I'm trying to get a cover story. I want to be on the cover of AARP.
Yeah, man.
Doesn't that bother you when you're like sitting in the dentist's office and there's Springsteen on the cover of the AARP? All these people like Donny Osmond doing on the cover of AARP magazine. I mean, it's the worst. Anyway, don't.
I'm trying to be top 60 under 60. That's what I'm trying to do.
There you go.
I'm voting for you. I'll vote for you.
But I think Kamal's right. There's a power vacuum on Stephanie Miller. They were talking about Robert F. Kennedy, replacing Vance or whatever. And there's nobody that has the charisma and the snake oil salesman technique that Trump has. And so they are in trouble if he passes. Not even one of his sons, not even Damien, a.k.a. Barron, is going to take over like in the North Korea fashion. I just think that you're right. There's nobody that really can fill those shoes of a snake oil salesman. So they're going to be hard pressed. But as you say, the Democrats have to match them. I'm a big Westmore guy, but I don't think Westmore is going to run. Newsom has that technique.
I'm a Gavin guy.
Gavin's very polarizing. As we said, I met him in Oxnard. Very nice guy, very handsome. But here's the Republicans.
He actually does have some of the snake oil salesman that Trump has.
But the Republicans embrace that, and the Democrats fight it.
Yeah.
We are not worker bees, and this is what I'll always say. Well, part of this show is that we need to be worker bees. Whoever the nominee is after the primary, you're a worker bee. You show up, you save the hive. That's it. We don't need charisma. We don't need what the Republicans need. We need somebody that's competent.
I don't think so, because we hate women. We had competence. We had Hillary Clinton, who was one of the most competent
Qualified,
people
probably the
ever.
most qualified candidate ever.
And I'm
Yes.
like, no, we don't want that. We want shine. We want sleek. We want bullshit. And I'm hoping that
We
people,
want white men. We want
white men.
We want
Yeah.
white
I'm
men.
not opposed to them philosophically. I mean, some of my best friends are white men. I'm just saying that, yes, that's what people want. They feel safe with it. It's a
All
safe
right.
for them, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Let me throw this out to you, since you talk about white men. Barack Obama said a while ago, it's been a number of years, but certainly after Trump got elected, I think, that he believes that he was elected president 10 years too early. 10 years too early, that things would have been different afterwards if he had been elected in 2018 instead of in 2008. So my question for you is this: if Barack Obama had never been elected president, would we be sitting where we are now? Do you think Trump would have? I mean, he's been talking forever about running. It was just, the whole thing was just a publicity stunt that went awry. That's all it was.
Mhm.
So do you think that if Barack Obama had never been elected, we'd be sitting here right now?
I don't think the white people would have been sufficiently scared enough to have elected Trump. I think Obama really scared white folks. And so, no, I don't think we would be where we are today had Obama not been in the picture, because we would have been able to squeak it by. They wouldn't have been so terrified.
I think it's actually even more. Sorry.
Please go ahead.
I think it's even more point in that if Obama had just not made those 3 or 4 jokes at the press dinner at Trump's expense, we wouldn't have Trump. If he had just taken the high road, which Obama normally does, and not felt like he could stick it to Trump, that's the moment that's the moment that the supervillain origin story begins.
Okay,
Yeah.
but here's the thing, though. I mean, he was yelling about the birth certificate before that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but I'm saying, but that was the moment that he felt like he really saw him like, now I have to come after you. I got to take you down. And I think that was the moment that he really clicked into focus.
Maureen,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I just always wonder, I mean, these are just dreams I have. I wonder, had Hillary been sanctioned by the Democratic Party instead of Obama at that time, if that would have been a natural baton to him 8 years later. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think that was the order of things. It's like playing your cards, like, damn, blackjack. Why'd the 10 have to come before the 7?
But you know what, Carlos, what I wanted to say too, though, had she been president, I mean, the misogyny in this country is sick. And as a comedian, please, I was a journalist before as a comedian. I've never seen anything like it in comedy. You deal with it. I mean, I'm not, you deal, but it's so insane to me. But then, they would hate women. We'd all be in cages and burqas. So who the hell knows? You know what I mean? What would the backlash to that have been? What anti-women thing would have been to that? Just as this the backlash to the black lash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now with him. I had a friend who said this always stayed with me. We're not friends anymore because we had a big blowout around this whole the racist things that came out of her mouth when Trump got elected. I just was floored by them. And you can't maintain a friendship when you know that friend really underneath that has those feelings. But I remember, I love Henry Louis Gates. I have a mind crush on him. The guy who does Finding Your Roots. I love him so much. And when they arrested him or tried to arrest him for trying to get into his own house with the cops in Boston.
Yeah.
And so Obama sat down, had a beer with the cop and Henry Louis
right.
Gates. So let's have a chat.
Yeah.
And my friend, the friend said, do you see, this is such a racist country because of Obama. He has to make everything a race issue. Why did he have to sit them down and do that? I'm like, I don't understand this at all. This is so crazy. I feel like I'm in a warped zone.
Yeah.
I thought it was a beautiful thing that he did. I thought Henry Louis Gates was so gracious, and I thought the cop was so pleased. Forgive me, kind of. And they came together. I thought it was lovely.
I get so sick of hearing people talk about that. Why do you always have to talk about race? And I always want to stop and go, look, you invented race. We didn't invent race.
Yeah.
That is a social construct that white people created. Those of European descent created in order to subjugate those who were not of European descent. You made up that construct. So don't tell me that I'm playing the race card when I can't. You can walk down the street and forget you're white. I can't walk down the street and forget I'm a black man.
Well, if it's really sunny out, I can't forget that I'm white. But I get what you mean. At the beach, it's hard. I burn, whatever. But I get your point.
But what you're saying about women and the misogyny is true,
But Kamala came close, and you could argue that Kamala
Well, she
probably won without
the-
Musk.
But here's the thing. Here's the story. I've told the story a couple of times actually on the podcast. I have the show that I do called Great American Shit Show, and it's a series of monologues on life in the age of Trump. And so I brought it back the last election, and I ended it with two new monologues, and I talked about when I first met Kamala when she was running for DA of San Francisco. I had on my KGO show, I had a debate between her and Terrence Hallinan, who was San Francisco royalty, and his family was this prestigious legal family in San Francisco, and he just dismissed her and treated her like crap, and she gave it right back to him, whooped his ass, and then beat him in the election. Okay. So I ended this whole thing by saying, thank God I'll never have to do this show again because she's going to win. And this young brother grabs me on the way out and says, she's not going to win. I go, what do you mean she's not going to win? He goes, I work in a black barbershop. And I am cutting black men's hair all day while they're sitting in the chair and waiting to get served. And all they're talking about is how they are not going to vote for her because of the fact that she's a black woman. What it boils down to is because she's a black woman, and they're not going to have a black woman telling them what to do. Wow. And yeah. And sure enough, well, I mean, what was it, 5% or 6%, something like that, of black men under 25 voted for Trump, which also boggles the mind because he said he would give unqualified immunity to all police officers for anything they did, anybody they killed, accidental or not, whether or not it was their fault. And if you're a black man under 25, that's the demographic. If you're a Latino man under 25, that's the demographic, and they voted for him. Like 5% or something.
I do have to say, Brian, of course I voted for her. And I mean, I would have voted for Biden if he had still run, if he were in a jar of formaldehyde with his head floating. I mean, I would have voted for him. But she was not an effective communicator. She was not an effective communicator. She wasn't on the scene long enough. There was a lot, they said the word salad, but there were ways that she could have been effective. She could have gotten her messages into more user-friendly sound bites where she was like, and she could have distanced herself from Biden, saying, I have a plan, part of what he wants, but I want to take it further, and I want to do this. And I want to
see, here's what you just proved. What you just proved is what people said all during her campaign. She and Trump were not taking the same exam. You're talking about she had to have coherent sound bites.
She had to be brilliant.
What did he say that was coherent?
Are you kidding me? He said everything coherent. He called people garbage, crap, losers, artards. What are you talking about?
We knew exactly what he thought.
After soundbite after soundbite that we're still playing.
Yeah, the bar was much higher for her.
Are you kidding? But Hillary could have been better. I know people who are friendly with Hillary. She said she is such a broad, loves a beer and a bawdy joke. I didn't see that in her. I would have loved to have seen a beer and a bawdy joke out of Hillary Clinton. Would have loved that.
To some extent, I could agree with Brian, but I saw that debate. She crushed Trump so much so that he was afraid to do the second debate. So second debate. So she did do her job. She did get her message across.
Night, though.
She did tell you that they would be taking citizens off the street. She was very communicative in that moment. Maybe she didn't have enough of those moments in enough time.
I agree.
But she was also battling these protesters who have suddenly disappeared on college campuses to get Dearborn, Michigan. Very effective. She was battling all kinds of things that were thrown at the Democrats just before all kinds of October surprises just being tossed at her. So she had to be way above bar. She had to do actual chin-ups, get her chin over the bar, unlike Bobby Kennedy, who never did.
I just want to, on behalf of the black men who don't go to barbershops anymore, I would like to say, when we talk about black men not voting, Brian, I just want to be clear. Black men as a whole still voted for Kamala way ahead of like white women and white men.
Yes.
So like
Well,
I
I'm
would
sure they did, but
Yeah,
that
so-
5% was enough, is what I'm trying to
but
say.
I'm saying, well, I would say the issue. I think sometimes we talk about what black men didn't do, and really it goes back to what white people didn't do. Like if white people are the ones who put
Yeah.
Trump in office, so I just
Well,
want to make sure white people get some blame when we talk about racism in America. That's all I'm trying to do, Brian.
Oh,
No,
wow.
it
My
was all
feelings
black people's
are
fault.
so hurt. I'm triggered.
Yeah.
Triggered.
All right. Let me ask you this then. If she had had a longer runway,
Mhm.
if she had had more time, do you think that would have made a difference?
Again, she's competing
Perhaps.
against Musk and what I think is very nefarious stuff. So I don't know.
I think that let's be clear, and I don't, I think it's easy to sort of pick Kamala apart, but she didn't make it out of the primaries. Like she didn't make it to the like when she was running like in 2020.
Yep.
She didn't make it. She didn't even make it to California. I think Kamala is like many people. The resume is great, but ultimately, when you're running for presidency, the thing that Joe Biden had in his prime was there is a certain level of like I like that person that America wants to vote for, or it feels like that person is a real person, whether they are not. Obama had it. Biden in his heyday had it. Whatever Trump is, he connects with people as a human. I'm putting it in scare quotes, as a human, in ways that Kamala just great resume, but didn't connect to people as the person they want to have a beer with, as you said, Maureen.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I don't know how she would have done given a longer run, but I do know there was a lot of resentment on many people's behalf, not just Democrats, Republicans, Independents, across the board, that there wasn't a primary, that she didn't emerge from a primary to run for president, that she was annoyed to that. I'm angry that Biden didn't keep his promise and be the one-term president that he said he would be.
Yep.
That
I'm going to
was
be a
my
bridge candidate.
Yeah,
He
so-
Ruth Bader Ginsburg does.
Well, Ruth was thinking she'd be able to swear in the first female president. That was her hope,
That's where a lot of this
very much.
a lot of this falls apart is the ego of these people once they get in the positions of like the ego keeps you there in a way that you should leave if you're actually thinking about the party and the people. And I think that's what happens with a lot of these politicians who stay in office for so long. Your ego is keeping you there when common sense says you should go. I mean, there was all those awful to read stories about Dianne Feinstein and her last days of like not being there mentally, barely being there physically. There's videos you can see of her people like saying, you're just supposed to say no, you're not supposed to give a speech, Yeah. And so I think for me, even when you think about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you think about all these people, like even right now, Mitch McConnell, who glitches like an old computer right now.
Mitch McConnell, man, oh man.
He's
That big ego is keeping people in office in a way that
He's
Well,
the
what's
Commodore
frightening
64.
what was frightening is, Trump is 79 years old, and what's scary is that the people who are running this country, and I, this sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not. Most of them, we would take their car keys from them.
Yeah, can't drive, Grandpa.
It's true. Most of them, we would take their car keys from them. Yet they're making decisions on women's reproductive rights.
Yeah.
Where does an 80-year-old man get off making decisions about a woman's reproductive freedoms? I just
But I will go back to this, that no matter how long of a run somebody gets, how persuasive they are, I keep running into this thing. I need to be persuaded by the Democratic. I don't need to be persuaded. I never needed to be persuaded about. I was like Bernie. I voted for Bernie in the primary. He lost. I voted for Hillary. I voted for so-and-so in the primary. I voted for Joe. I don't need to be persuaded. I see the other side is Project 25 and more of MAGA. Give me whoever wins the nominee. They don't need to persuade me a lick. I am voting on the dotted line blue. Worker bee, worker bee, worker bee, worker bee. That's how we win. You win first, then you steer left. That's all. Nobody needs to persuade me of anything. I don't care who the candidate is.
Or you do a Zoran Mamdani where he's way over there to the left.
Yeah.
But he's so charismatic. Follow him, everybody.
Yeah, I'm doing a scavenger hunt. As long as I get a scavenger hunt, I'm happy.
I knew he was going to win because I live in Manhattan and I'm in the pickleball cult. So I'm going to and from the pickleball courts. I'm seeing people on the street. There was just tons and tons of energy behind him.
Yeah.
Tons of energy behind him. I go, this guy's going to win.
But like Joe Walsh says, whoever promises to say, I'm going to take down that ballroom on day one, that's who I'm voting for. Again, it would be lovely to have a Mamdani.
Take down that ballroom. Take down that ballroom. There we
Mamdani's
go.
going to do well in New York because it's a more liberal state. I don't think a Mamdani type candidate can win in a general because you have to deal with all those red states in between. So if we get somebody like that, fantastic. If we don't, I don't care who it is. It could be a shoe.
Because
Carlos, I would just say,
against.
Carlos, I would just say that there was a time when Obama was running for president where we were like, good for him. He might be a great vice president for Hillary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that you don't know until the person emerges who just catches the lightning bolt, which is what Obama did, and also had a plan that we couldn't see. So I don't know whether that person is how left that person is. It really matters about who the person is and that they're able to catch the wave of the public imagination. That's all I would say.
Yeah, but again, throw any stiff up. It's stiff in a binary contest after the primary. If it's a cardboard cutout stiff versus MAGA, cardboard cutout stiff. That's who I vote for. It's easy.
Let me piggyback on that because you are a pragmatist. You've always been a pragmatist. Me too.
Because we've had kids.
All of my life, I have voted against people. My first election was first presidential election was Reagan Mondale, and I was voting against Reagan. I voted against people until there have been two people who I really three who I'll say four now. I really voted for. First one was Clinton. I really voted for Clinton. They actually had a thing, Comics for Clinton, where they took us on a bus to college campuses to do stand up and to stump for Clinton. So he's the first one I voted for. I voted for Obama. I voted for Hillary. I voted for Kamala. Every other one, I just voted against people. Who's the first person, or is there anyone who you for the presidency who you've actually voted for as opposed to voting against the other candidate? Is there anybody you've actually voted for?
Yeah, Hillary, Obama.
I voted for Jimmy Carter. I was afraid of Reagan, but I liked Jimmy Carter.
You were old enough to vote? In 80. That would have been 80.
Yeah,
right?
1980. I was 18.
Okay.
It was my first election, and I voted for him. I thought the most, and I'm not a Christian, but I thought like the most Christ-like, genuinely kind, Annapolis, Maryland, smart, thinking person, as opposed to, well, here we go. I mean, you could argue that half of me was voting against Reagan, but I really liked who Jimmy Carter was, and I think it proved out throughout his life, a genuinely great human being.
Yeah, I mean, my first election was Clinton, and I remember being told he was the next JFK. So
JFK, remember that?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I was like, how lucky am I that I'm voting for the next JFK?
Turns out he was.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would say and then after that, the next time I voted for was Obama. It was like the first and second time I was absolutely voting for Obama. And then since then, it's just been about like trying to hold the dam back.
Maureen?
Oh, yeah, Hillary, Obama.
But prior to that, anybody before that? I mean, because for those of us who are progressives, Hillary and Obama, that's a given.
Yeah, but I'm similar to what Carlos says. Where's the dotted blue line I'm going to sign? But I have my favorites among that. But I think the difference, Carlos, where I disagree with you a bit is people aren't. I wish more people were well-read or informed about the issues, because if they were, they wouldn't be voting against their best interests and signing on the red dotted line. So many massive, my father was a New York City sanitation worker who didn't finish high school. He has a generation of 6 kids who all went to state colleges. Their kids now going to better colleges. The whole American dream thing, right? My father, union guy his whole life. That union saved us so many times with personal and family issues. They are fantastic. My father passes away under a year ago. Now my mother's like, Jesus, I can't use the insurance anymore. They cut off me insurance. What am I going to do for the eye appointment? I said, Mom, that's why I kept telling you, vote for healthcare, vote for unions. And this time she's in New Jersey. She voted Democratic. She was, well, your sisters are teachers and your brother's a teacher. I'm going to vote for the union. We'll see what that works out like. Oh, well, it worked out for you well. So see, he got into their heads. Like my mother actually got aligned for a short time. Thank God we got her back. With Trump. And my father would have that news on all the time. A union guy from the South Bronx. And it's like, you walk past the television, it was like secondhand smoke. I'd be like, la, 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 any of that's absorb into me. And that's what happened to my mother. And now she's seeing what happened now that he's gone to God, as he would say. And she's come back to us.
Yeah, I agree with you on principle.
So talk about healthcare for a minute. I read right before we started to live stream that there's no plan for the ACA and for extending the subsidies. There's no plan, and we're what are we 2.5 weeks away from the expiration, and that apparently Mike Johnson is throwing out 10 half-assed plans that aren't really plans. And in the Senate, you've got some of these far-right senators who are talking about savings accounts. It's again, what world, what planet are you living on?
First operation.
What planet are you? I got labs done. I got a blood test today, and I want to wipe out my savings account. Going to LabCorp, getting the blood, peeing in a cup and giving them some blood. $3,000. I mean, so it's just it's crazy. So, but here's the thing that I find fascinating. And part of me wants to gloat, but I don't want to gloat because a lot of people are going to die if they don't fix this.
I don't
and that is that 80% of the people who are benefiting from the ACA are in red states. Mm-hmm. So how can you screw the people that sent you there? You're directly screwing over your constituents. And then you're going to have the balls to go back to them in June and say, or next November and say, vote for me again?
Well, this ties into what Kamala said about North Korea, and what scared me before the election. If you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again. And this is the reason I think he's so brazen and that he can just piss over the people in red states, because he knows there'll never be another fair election. I'm sorry, that's where my head goes.
Okay, but that's him. But what about the individual representatives who are now too chicken shit to even hold town hall meetings? Yeah. But what about your individual representative who came to your Rotary Club meeting and asked for you to vote for them? I mean, you can say Trump's going to do what Trump's going to do, but he's still got to have the House behind him. Mm-hmm. Most people never meet a senator, but you sure as hell meet your congressman. And he cannot do it without the House behind him. So I just don't see, and I hate to say this, I hate so much to say this, but Marjorie Taylor Greene's integrity. I can't believe I put those words together in the same sentence.
That's our 60 Minutes interview.
Selective integrity.
In terms of wanting to fight for her people. You've got to. Well, you tell me, is it integrity or is it or is she just being opportunistic? Is she smart enough to know that the Titanic has hit the iceberg?
First of all, Marjorie Taylor Greene, apparently, from what I understand, has never proposed any significant legislation, has never done anything significant in her time. Nope. That is a person who does not actually want to have a job. And Congress, it starts to feel like a job when there's all that fighting. And as has been reported, she's retiring as soon as her retirement benefits vet. Mm-hmm. So I think we can still separate the phrase Marjorie Taylor Greene and integrity for now, because there's nothing she has done that you can't point back to go, oh, this is how it benefits her. And she's now got a big enough platform. I've seen all sorts of things about how her net worth is increased, but even if her net worth is the same, she can go make that money without working hard at all. I don't think there's any way to sort of point at her. And I think the least integrity thing you can do is run away from the fight. And that's when I see all these Republicans, Congress people, they're saying there might be 20 more who don't run. Running away from the fight does not in any way say to me that you have integrity when the fight is on.
But they're not in the fight. That's the whole point.
That's it. But then people want to give them credit for I couldn't put up with Trump, so I walked away. That's not integrity.
That's not integrity. That's rats jumping off a ship.
Rosa Parks, I couldn't sit on the bus, so I walked to work every day. Oh, good for you.
I had kind of a dream, but I don't want to share it with you.
I had a dream, but the good person doesn't share their dreams because dreams are boring to share. Yeah. No, that's not how that works.
All right. So before we get ahead of ourselves, because it kind of ties into Carlos's question. All right. So just some stats. Okay. Again, as we mentioned, at least 20 MAGA congressmen, it's being reported in multiple places, are expected to resign or retire. It may be more. We may see the Republicans lose the majority, although I understand most of those 20 are in ruby red districts anyway. But you get at least 20 who are going to leave. Trump is polling in the 30s on everything. The lowest poll numbers in modern history, beating his own. He already had them. The first time around, he had the lowest poll numbers for a president in history. So he's polling in the 30s on immigration, on world affairs, on the economy, all of this stuff. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and some of the other diehard, crazy cultists who follow Trump who are are deserting him. You have got those upsets. You mentioned Miami. I was talking about Georgia, where you had seats that had been Republican for years that are
Virginia.
flipping. It seems like we're seeing cracks in MAGA. He's being defied. Now here is my question. After everything we see, I can't even keep track, none of us can, but just the top of my head, after January 6th and after E.G. and Carroll and after the Access Hollywood thing and after the 34 felonies that he was convicted of, and after all of these things, why now? Why now? After Epstein, why now?
Maybe perhaps a little bit of the vetting thing so that they can collect their pension or whatever. I think the midterms coming up are going to wipe them out as well if it's all done fairly. I think it's like the movie Saltburn. You think you can keep up with this kind of lifestyle, and you can't, because you realize the guy you're trying to follow in the footsteps is a sociopath, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm a regular human being. I can't do this forever. I cannot keep up with this pace of lying, of not going to town halls, of not facing my constituents. I think it's physically taking a toll on them, and I wouldn't put Putin-like threats against their lives being part of the factor as well. Maybe it would be a good idea for you to get out of Congress and make room for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So I think all of those factors as of why now, but I think it's mostly because there's some little snippet of humanity left in these people we're going that are saying to themselves, I can't do this anymore. I can't be his liar minion. I gotta stop.
But Carlos, I'm not just talking about elected representatives.
Okay.
I'm talking about the people who voted for him. Again, how he's polling and everything else.
Yeah, like what was the final straw? It wasn't enough that
him.
you're bombing Venezuelans in boats. It wasn't enough that
Yes.
you're snagging people off the street. It wasn't enough that he says, I love the black people. What is the thing that is doing it? I think you know what it is? I think because we're getting back to how a candidate looks and communicates. I think it's his age. I think they're seeing him. And it might have been a lot of reasons that scared Democrats off Biden, although I thought Biden was old and he looked old. So maybe it's his physical appearance and the way he's speaking and falling apart in public. I think that has psychologically something to do with, like, oh, I can't support this guy. He's falling apart, man. That right leg is a question mark. What? I can't do this anymore. I can't be embarrassed because he's not that strong, vibrant guy that shook his fist and said, fight anymore. That I could get behind, but not this guy I got to get out now because it'll reveal that I supported this dying cow. So maybe that's it. I only have conjecture. I don't know why.
I mean, if I were cynical, I would say it's because of prices. That concentration camps are all right until prices.
It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah, I mean, if I were cynical, and I'm not saying I'm cynical, come out, Maureen. Your thoughts? Why now? What was the straw?
I feel like it's not a straw. I think that, I mean, I don't know how familiar we are with the East Coast Chinese food dish of the poo-poo platter, where you get this is a poo-poo platter of Trump. There's a little bit of awful everywhere.
It's the poo-poo platter.
This is the poo-poo platter. This is the MAGA poo-poo platter. So there's like, try a little bit of, Trump was actually at the Epstein parties and was really good friends with Epstein, despite the fact that that a lot of MAGAs actually are concerned about child safety and human trafficking. So that's one. Oh, he's actually regularly calling women reporters piggy and telling them to shut up and quiet down. Oh, he took away MLK free day at the park and Juneteenth free day at the park and replaced them with his birthday. Oh, so there's all these things. And also, I can't afford eggs. Like, I don't know if I heard there's.
They've actually gone down.
Well, at one point, I know at one point, bodegas in New York were selling Lucy eggs. I know that happened at one point.
Yeah.
You could get like a Lucy cigarette and a Lucy egg. So I
Maybe
think
it was the affordability speech.
Yeah. Now affordability is a Democrat scam when it's like, but we have footage of you from a week ago saying you've made America more affordable. Now, I think it's really it's like they talk about the societal effect of weathering on black people. Like, racism just weathers you. It just sort of like, there's not one thing that's happening. You're just sort of getting weathered by the effect of racism. And I think MAGA is weathering a lot. And also these politicians and also regular Americans, like, this is exhausting. This is exhausting to get up every day.
Not everybody could be Jason Whitlock, right?
Yeah, exactly. although it doesn't look like it make him look good. He doesn't look
No,
healthy.
he's looking bad.
Complete and total aside, just because you mentioned about how the weathering of black men, because how racism will weather you. I was reading a thing about Martin Luther King's autopsy, and he was like, what, 30? What was he, 35? 39. He's 39. And they said he had the heart of an 80-year-old man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had the heart of an 80-year-old man. Well, people take a couple shots at you. They blow your house up with your baby in it.
Also, the night before you die, you say, "I know I'm not going to be here much longer." That's the night before he died. I know I'm not going to be here much longer. So yes,
supposedly affairs are very stressful to a marriage and to a person.
Oh, you had to go there. You had to go there.
I don't know. Supposedly, I don't know.
Or polyamory. We
don't know. We don't know.
Coretta never.
Rest his soul. And I think it's terrible that what they're doing to take away Juneteenth and MLK Day.
We just got Juneteenth. Like it's not even.
It's brand new.
I don't even have a tradition in my family for it yet. Now
you're still under warranty.
Focus on Kwanzaa. All right, that's been here longer. I
tried, for years with my kids, I tried to do Kwanzaa and we would do the thing of it, but it's like, what? We just got through Christmas. 7 more days of shit.
Yeah.
7 more days. I got to go find some African clothes now for you to wear. I got to cook some African food for the feast. I'm tired. I mean, I've been wrapping presents and it's just, I tried. Why did they put it then? I tried.
Meanwhile, in my family, I have a white wife who goes, "Come out, we need to make sure we celebrate Kwanzaa." So this is the difference between me and Brian.
Yeah. But I wanted to say something about the topic we were just discussing about the tipping point. And first of all, everybody's talking about how old he looks and how horrible he looks. I don't see a difference. He's always looked disgustingly horrible to me all along. So I don't see this kind of all of a sudden aged man who now thinks, I see the same evil human being that I've seen for 8 years.
But he's feeble. He's much more feeble now.
I guess maybe for me, I just see I'm not seeing it as overtly as others are. So that's good. That gives me hope that you're seeing that. But what I wonder, I don't know. I would love to talk to a social psychologist, psychiatrist who could really look at the collective consciousness of our current state of affairs in America. And I think what Kamau said resonates for me too. It's like, it's just that weathering. You ever just pretend you grew up in an alcoholic family. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. Pretend it's me. And then all of a sudden, you have 5
Irish?
siblings.
Yeah, I was going to say the Irish gave it away.
I don't like the stereotypes. So anyway, but just say at times there could be a certain level of dysfunction. And it's not on the worst day that you don't say anymore. It's just sometimes it could be just a little aside or a comment. You go, I can't. I got to back away from this. And I don't know what that is collectively for us. I'm wondering, healthcare is huge. And the Republicans have had 13 attorneys general try to undo it time and time again. Undo it. The Republicans, when Obama didn't want the insurance companies involved and wanted single payer, the Republicans fought that. So they have fought tooth and nail not for us to have access to something so basic in our country. And the prices aren't better. So I don't know. The personal is political. I worked at a radio station that Gloria Steinem founded, and she always said the personal is political. So once somebody is personally affected, that's what changes their views. When people see brown people being put into planes, we just put in $140 million for a new a fleet of Boeings to take immigrants out of here.
Yeah, the Cubans in Miami.
Yeah, and then you wondered what is the tipping point? Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't give a shit about anybody. The tipping point hurt her. So now she knows what it's like to be affected by him in a very visceral way, where her child is getting death threats. I don't wish children any harm on children at all. I don't care what child they are. So that's what the shift is when it starts to impact you. And I think people thought he's going to impact me in a favorable way. And now they're going, oh God, no, this isn't happening.
You mentioned about the people being snatched and taken out of the country, and Kristi Noem, I just want to. And all right, so my question is this: and if there is justice in the world, we will see war crimes trials after this regime falls. All right, who goes? Who goes on trial? I say that Kristi Noem goes on trial.
Hexeth.
I say that Hexeth. Yes, definitely. Bondi goes on trial. Who else?
RFK. When thousands of kids die of measles and hepatitis.
Wow.
When you go after kids like that, I think RFK.
Okay, but don't you have to have intent? I mean, because those who were tried
His
after
intent
World War
is being
II,
funded by the wellness industry and taking a bribe. His intent is trying to make money. He's a grifter. He has bad intent. He doesn't care about health.
He's a Kennedy. He doesn't have to make money.
What do you know? Do you know
He's a Kennedy.
Elon Musk, who's maybe the richest man on the planet, wants to be a trillionaire. The want for wealth is addictive. It's not a thing that people. No, very few wealthy people go, that's enough. That's not a thing we see in America happen that often. Right now, there's a battle amongst the tech bros to see who can be the first trillionaire, even though we can't conceive a billion and they're trying to get to a trillion.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
Well, there is you make a really good point. There was a mini series that I saw that I think it was A&E did, and it was called The Men Who Built America, and it was about Cornelius Vanderbilt and Andrew Carnegie and John Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan. And at one point, because they were in an argument over who was the richest man in America, they started a pissing match and dragged America into the worst depression before the Great Depression, all because they blocked, Vanderbilt was ships, so they blocked his ships so his ships couldn't come in to bring in the goods, and so therefore then they did something so that Rockefeller couldn't ship his oil, and so all the people who got hurt, they were fine. They weren't the richest one in the world, but they were. But you're right about it being addictive. They made all these people suffer just over a pissing match in terms of who's the richest man.
So all off the fact that we don't think Kennedy would go to The Hague, but we think Hegseth. We think who else? Who else did we say?
I don't think any of them are going. I don't think any of them are going.
Really? Why?
Did Obama try those bankers who knew about the financial collapse?
Yeah. Gore never even challenged the 2000 election.
But it's not on the same level.
Which Democrat do you see who's in power now who goes, I'm going to make sure that these guys serve, that is going to push that in this country?
Well, it would have been Jasmine Crockett, but damn it.
Oh, Jasmine Crockett. I love Jasmine Crockett.
I
love Jasmine Crockett.
But is she in the position to do that? Is what I'm saying.
Coming up.
She can go viral. She can go viral talking about it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, who again, this gets back to
our Supreme Court's not going to do it.
Yeah, that's who. Chuck Schumer, he's going to.
You know what? Clarence Thomas is going to get visited by 3 ghosts.
Chuck Schumer.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
But see, you guys forget it's not up to them. It's not up to them. It's the world that will try them for war crimes. It's not up to the Supreme Court. It's not up to who's in the White House. It was up to Germany who was for war crimes. It's the rest of the world that's watching what's going on and seeing Venezuelan fishermen get blown to shit.
Doesn't somebody have an arrest warrant out for Benjamin Netanyahu, like one of the world tribunals?
I think so.
Yeah, but so anyway,
it'll be Zelensky.
That's all I wanted to ask. He's not
Macron. Those people will bring him to trial.
Yeah. Well, I was in Aruba, and I'm not trying to be fancy pants. I was there last week performing, and a couple of comics. I go, well, we can go out on a little boat. I'm not going to no friggin' boat. Do you know how close we are to Venezuela? I'm not going to no boat.
Yeah,
you gotta go to your boat. Stay right here on the beach and burn it.
Give me that big No Drogas banner.
No way.
And that brings us to your question, Maureen.
Oh, yes, I'm ready.
Okay. I got a show business question for you.
Oh, please, yes.
Rachel Maddow did Nicole Wallace's MS Now podcast, and she really came up hard against CBS and said that CBS needs to reconsider its decision to fire Stephen Colbert, that CBS News and 60 Minutes in particular are a joke, and it is appalling what they have done to that network since what's his name from Oracle
Ellison.
I think it's just David Ellison has taken over with Skydance, and that they have basically tried to turn it into broadcast Fox News, which is not going to work. This is the network of Edward R. Murrow. This is the network of Walter Cronkite. It's not going to work, and that they need to reconsider that. They've got a right-wing blogger making editorial decisions about the news. So my question for you, Maureen, is: do you think that there's any possibility, if MAGA does crumble, if MAGA falls apart, as you know, we're seeing all kinds of cracks. Do you think that there's a chance that they revisit that decision, the decisions that they've made so far?
I don't think they're gonna, I mean, he was a sacrificial lamb, Colbert, to make this deal happen, whatever this, CBS wanted, that he was a sacrificial lamb. And no, I don't think them going back on it, though I love Rachel Maddow for speaking out about it. I love her for that. And I think he's a class act guy, Colbert. I don't know. Maybe he has other things in the works. Maybe he's going somewhere else. Maybe I hope he has something.
Well, he will. He will.
I mean, I don't think so. I think it's so gross with what's going on with the censorship of voice in our country. It's so terrible. And it's not even in our country now. Now this administration wants to vet people's social media going back 5 years who want to come here on visas.
Yep.
I mean, it's real. I was a journalist. I really have such respect for journalists. And I mean, I left years ago Bloomberg and public television to pursue comedy because I didn't want a dental plan. I figured who needs that?
Yeah.
When I would see people posting, when Trump started to plant the seeds to undermine journalism, and I saw people getting on board with that and saying that they don't read the Times. I'm like, well, what reporters don't you like? Which ones? Which articles? What don't you like? People don't have critical thinking. They've just decided they don't like CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, and they're thinking. I did cancel the Washington Post because they wouldn't come out and support a candidate because of Bezos. But I'm watching this chiseling away of true free speech. I don't think CBS, that's a microcosm of a bigger thing that's going on, which is control. This is business deal. This is the White House has been bought and everybody, people are aligned.
So is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court's been bought. You have Fuckerberg and all these fuck faces. Sorry, I have rage. I got Tourette syndrome. Pray for me. They're all like aligning with him. So all of this, it's so big. It feels so much bigger than me that some days I can't even tune into it. And I love tuning in and knowing what's going on. But some days I just got to play pickleball and pretend it's his face, that friggin' ball.
And I'll tell you, what you're saying about chipping away of voices is true. Why do you think he's coming after the arts? Why he's coming after late night comics? He took over the Kennedy Center. I told you about the show that I've been doing, the Great American Shit Show. Everywhere I do that show sells out. Now theaters won't let me do it.
What?
No, I'm having trouble finding theaters to do that show.
No.
And this was me going in forwalling. This was me going in where
so you're going to take care of everything.
I will pay for the theater, or I'll do a door split with you. Won't cost you a dime. And I'm having, we'd love to have you, but God, we're doing Guys and Dolls.
Wow, I'm just having a hard time because I'm over 50 and I'm a chick in comedy, but still, wow.
No, yeah, and so I mean, I have a couple places that one place had the show booked, tickets are selling, it's advertised, and then I get a call going, 2 members of our board are MAGA, and they said we can't do it.
Stop this!
I'm not kidding. Because it's critical of Trump. And then there are others who, since he did what he did with the NEA, and by the way, I want to applaud you, Kamau, because I have not talked to you since you did this, for you doing that series of shows to raise money for theaters who lost money when their grants were clawed back. That was a hell of a thing that you did. So bravo, right on. Yeah, and there's one, and you did it quietly. Other than you did it loud enough to fill the place, but other than that, you did it loud enough to fill up the theater. But other than that, nobody knew what you did, and that was a hell of a thing.
Fantastic!
That was a hell of a thing that you did.
Appreciate it.
But they are afraid for that reason. And he can. I mean, the Kennedy Center thing is just, they gave him a bullshit medal.
Yeah, FIFA.
Oh my God. It's like, everybody gets a medal. What is happening? That was so insane. So mental.
For the MAGA people who are mad that kids get, everybody gets an orange slice at a soccer game. Trump gets a peace medal from an organization that is fundamentally not about peace at all. And never given a peace medal before, but they know he wanted a peace medal. And I loved it when the head of FIFA gave it to him. He left the space for Nobel. Here's your peace prize.
Yeah, fill in the blank.
Gross.
I've been saying this for years on Stephanie Miller that everybody has to watch the documentary of Team Foxcatcher with John DuPont Jr., who was fancied himself a wrestler, sponsored the USA wrestling team, went nuts and killed David Schultz, the wrestler, because he dared challenge John DuPont Jr. sociopath. They used to bring in fake wrestlers to wrestle against John DuPont Jr. and let him win and give him trophies. Trump is the exact same guy. He is a unloved billionaire's son who is a sociopath. That medal ceremony was totally John DuPont Jr. all the way.
I would deny that he's a sociopath because sociopaths can pass for being normal, except for when they're not. They can pass for being normal and blend in until they don't. And there was a time he was a sociopath, sure.
Yeah.
Not now.
But now it's gone beyond that.
He's a full.
That's what that medal ceremony reminded me of. Oh my God, they're giving him fake crap.
Yeah, a fake.
Go ahead. Sorry, Brian.
No, but it's just, we have to. It's frightening that we have to be afraid of what it is that we say. I mean, part of our job is to speak truth to power, and again, that's why Hitler did the same thing. Hitler went after the artists.
They're leaving a vacuum for theocracy to take over as well. So on the tail end of all this censoring of comedians is this injection of Jesus, Christianity, white Christianity, Jesus, military. That's what's taking its place. They're shoving that in the hole that they're creating.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know John Fugelsang?
I have 3 copies of his book.
Well, he does this podcast.
I love him. I just think he's one of the most brilliant gentlemen on the planet, aside from the 3 of you, of course. And his book, Separation of Church and Hate, and his parents one was a priest and one was a nun, and he really knows the Bible inside and out. I was raised Catholic. I don't know anything about it. There was no question and answer period.
I know the Missalette. That's it. The
Missalette. I know.
That's it. I call that the cliff notes to the Bible.
I just gave a copy of that book in Vegas to my friend who's a Christian and a little bit more conservative, and he's willing to read it because John's book, McKellen on Instagram, the Mormon guy who's also a biblical scholar, he and John are friends. I think it's important for us to pass along those information that people that are Christian and leaning right to go, just take a look at this because you're trying to sell me on Jesus. What you're saying isn't what John's saying about the guy and about the Bible. Yeah, I could see me and myself getting into that.
And John knows his stuff, and he's the most down-to-earth, liberal, open-minded, open-hearted guy on the planet. I wanted to give a shout-out because I think that's a good energy to put into all of this, that there's people to turn to read and to connect with. John Fugelsang. But I am very frightened about the lack of free speech because we don't have it anymore, and we don't. And it's happening with, firing Colbert to looking at people's social media going back 5 years to get visas. I perform a lot overseas because I feel that I can speak more freely there.
Well,
I can talk about Trump. I can say he was caught with a stripper. I would have been more shocked even caught with a book, and going off onto my stuff and go into some of the more deeper things I want to talk about. Here, I get cursed out. I get told to F myself. I mean,
in what cities? In New York?
I was an hour north of New York. I was in Massachusetts. I was at Cape Cod. I made an innocuous joke. I mean, I had to explain what innocuous meant to them.
Do I have to have a mask?
Yeah, I think, Brian, I told you this. I said that he loves to read. He loves the classics. A lot of people don't know this. He loves Lord of the Lies, Nasty Little Women, and Catcher in the Pussy. Those are his favorite books. Matthew, that's my president. I go, honey, even if you had all your teeth, he doesn't want you, honey. Stop. Calm down. Got the whole table up. They left. They cursed me out.
Well, I'm told that, it's been ages since I've headlined a club. Ages. And I have been told that, when I was coming up and we were all coming up, we might be told don't cuss. Yeah. Or in rare occasions, don't do drug humor. Usually when a club owner got a girlfriend and all of a sudden she thought she was in charge, that was when you would hear don't do drug jokes. Well, now comics are being told don't do anything political.
Speaking of putting out good energy for people, Steve Hofstadter is a comedian who has not abided by that rule. Steve does what he does. Kamala does what he does. There are people that are lending themselves to. Unfortunately, we have to combat the Rob Schneiders of the world who are just shilling people left and right.
Luckily,
about, I'm getting canceled. You're not getting canceled. There's a consequence for doing crappy material.
Yeah. See, and the thing that we're forgetting is this isn't new. I mean, they did this to the Smothers Brothers. Mm-hmm. Pat Paulson was one of my best friends in the world up until the day that Pat died. And he told me so many stories that, it came down from Nixon, directly from Nixon to Bill Paley, who the founder of CBS, that those guys needed to lay off Nixon in the war. And they wouldn't do it. And so they started to one of the stories Pat told me was they started to require them to have turned in a film of the show to give them time, to give the network time to go through it and cut out anything offensive. And so what Tommy Smothers told everybody to do is, if you say a line that you think might get cut, as soon as you say the line, take a big step to the right. So that way, when they cut, it'll be obvious that it's an edit because you're standing in a different place.
Oh, I love it.
And the way they got them was on a technicality. It was like the film was supposed to. There's a documentary I recommend called Smothered that's all about it.
Wow.
And I believe that if I'm remembering correctly, it was something like they were late. A little bit late getting the film in for some reason. It was a bullshit thing for some reason, and whoever was in charge at CBS said, "We got him." That was the quote. "We got him." Because the fact, therefore, they did not, and that was
like getting Capone on taxes.
Yeah, basically.
May I suggest, Brian, you change the name of your show to Merry Christmas? Sold out.
All right, last thing in terms of being canceled. And this is just one that there are like a couple people whose work I just really, really like, and they've just kind of like disappointed me.
Oh.
Like a perfect example is like in my family, we have been Sylvester Stallone fans, Rocky fans more than anything else since the beginning. Especially if you know the story of Rocky and how he made that film and how he had to fight for the right. He was a bum, he was a nobody and nothing. Writes this script that doesn't have a pot to piss in, and they offer him $350,000. He's got a pregnant wife. He's in a one-room place with a radiator, no money, and his wife stuck by him, and they let him do it. In fact, they've got a movie that the trailer's out. It's called I Play Rocky, and it's all about the story of Stallone. And then to see Stallone introducing Trump and calling Trump the next George Washington.
Oh,
I just
meaning that he's a slave owner.
That broke my heart, and especially since if you look at Rocky movies, African Americans are always very, very, very. He beats them up, but they're always very well represented in Rocky movies. Okay, well, this other one. Now I knew this guy was right wing. I've interviewed him a couple times, never in person. Once satellite, a couple times on radio, but never in person. Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer. I remember he went out and campaigned for Michelle Bachmann. Remember Michelle Bachmann?
Oh, yeah, geez. Minnesota.
Okay. So he was at the Kennedy Center for the presidential dinner or whatever it was afterwards. And he's just gushing to the press about Trump. And among the things he said was that he is, quote, quite possibly the best president we've ever had. And it's what he said. That is what he said. Yeah. And I just, it's a black man, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm sorry. I love Frasier. I love that show. It's a great show. It's well written. It's funny. It's clever. It's smart.
Brian, no one is surprised to hear that you love Frasier. That nobody's. You're not breaking news, Brian. You can love Frasier. Brian Copeland likes Frasier?
Newsflash.
If you had said In Living Single, I'd have been like, all right, yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
John Singleton? What was his name?
So, but the fact that he said
you didn't see Sinners, did you? No, I'm just kidding.
Of course, I saw Sinners twice.
So did I.
I saw Sinners twice. And I didn't know that was what's her name? And I had her in studio. What was her name? The one that played the ingenue, who ends up becoming a vampire, child actress, who's in those Sing movies, and got nominated for the Oscar for True Grit. I can't think of her name. Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld.
I didn't know that was her.
Oh yeah,
I did not know that was her at all. So she's an amazing actress.
Josh Allen's wife.
I'm sorry.
Josh Allen's wife. Josh Allen, right?
Buffalo Bill. Yeah, the football player.
Okay.
Jake Steinfeld's niece, the workout guy.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, here's the question, and that is in this climate, because you've got like Tim Allen and John Voight, and a handful of other people that nobody really wants to hire,
Kid
Mhm.
Rock,
who are Kid Rock, Chachi,
Dean Cain.
Kevin
Dean Cain.
Sorbo, who are all claiming that they're being discriminated against because of the fact that they are conservatives.
Yep.
And I would say they're not conservatives; they're right wing extremists. There's a difference. There's
Yeah,
a big difference.
yeah,
But in terms of Kelsey Grammer, Kelsey Grammer is still working. The Frasier reboot didn't do well, but he owns a company. And in fact, he's the one you mentioned, Living Single. You know that was a Kelsey Grammer show?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Kelsey Grammer produced that show. Was it 9 seasons? He produced that show and produced, I guess, a number of shows that were all African American casts. And so my question is this. I mean, he's worth, what I read, he's worth something like $400 million. And Gramnet does a lot of production. It's a big production company. That's his company. And do you think that this hurts him in any way? Because when I had him on and asked him if he would talk, I go, are conservatives discriminating against Hollywood? He goes, yes. I go, you want to talk about it? He goes, absolutely not.
mm.
He goes, absolutely not. Because he's afraid of blowback. Does this hurt him in any way, shape, or form?
No, he's already done. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever he, like you said, didn't you say he's worth $400 million? Like he's
Yeah.
not. He can be
8
open.
wives or something, so probably not that much now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But he was making money when TV was making real money, and he played Frasier for like 20 years or
20
something.
years.
Like
Yeah.
he's not hurt at all. I think that's not we don't have to cry for Kelsey Grammer. He's going to be fine.
But yeah, I can't think of anybody that you mean openly supporting Trump and being in Hollywood is dangerous. Is pretty much what you're
You
saying.
know who
They're
it's
saying-
dangerous
that's
for?
what they're saying.
It's
That's
dangerous for someone like Sydney Sweeney because
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney is trying to be a box office draw and trying to be like a major movie star, and that is not a time to tell half your audience that you're into Trump. So it's dangerous for somebody who's on the come up. It's not dangerous for people who are already on the other side.
But let's Laura Ingraham them and say, shut up and dribble, shut up and act, shut up and act.
Oh boy, I know.
Yeah, but actors have been vocal. I mean, if you, I love old radio and old TV and old newsreels and stuff. And when you look at World War II stuff and hear, the propaganda that somebody like Jimmy Stewart or Henry Fonda, I mean, people were always political.
Sure.
People who were in the public. You got a platform. Use your platform however you choose to use it. Now, if you use it in a way that it hurts you, don't bitch about it.
Just stop doing it.
Just
Yeah.
basically.
Because you would say it's ostensibly the art of movies and filmmaking and television is liberal. It's about exposing the truth. And being a Trump supporter is the antithesis of truth. So it really doesn't jive for me, and I don't feel sorry for him. You're supposed to be about this art form.
And also on a very
I would
on a very-
disagree with you. Go ahead.
on a very basic level, it's also about the theater department of every high school is the weirdos. Like
Yeah.
the theater department of every college is the weirdos.
Mhm.
And Hollywood, at its base, is the theater department. Now, they will accept a lot of different types of people as long as those people accept each other. You've heard the phrase Hollywood conservative. That means like, I like to keep my money, but I understand that gay people are also here. You know what I mean? So like, I understand that I have to deal with all these other people but I like my money. And like Schwarzenegger, I think would be a great Hollywood conservative, or the idea of Hollywood. But I think that so it's antithetical to show business in a way because it's antithetical to the definition of what the theater department is, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
Oh, that's so
That's a
interesting.
good observation.
I was just this week. My friend asked if I'd come talk to her class, the School of Performing Arts in New York, and help them with their 5-minute set. They're all musical theater majors, and it was so delightful to see each person. I asked them what comics do they like, who resonates, and why. And I said, well, they all have the same job, but they're bringing them to it. So you bring you. Let's get up there. And they were so delightful to just watch one gay guy sing his little young boy sing his stuff because he goes, I identify with somebody on Broadway whenever I have an emotion. And then I go, all right, get up there. Let's see what emotion. And then a gal who was a little like edgy and just a little afraid to open up, but then she got her first line out. And just to watch people come alive and be authentically who they are. But then that has to go for people who I guess are conservative, of course, too, if that's going to be a standard, if one can speak freely, if they're creative and liberal. But I think, like you were saying, there's a difference between being conservative and really getting up there and kissing Trump's ass and handing him peace prizes and saying he's the best thing since George Washington. That's disgusting.
No,
There's a
that's
man
just
here whose people are dying
cult-like.
around the world because of him. The world. We've taken U.S. aid from people. So
Yeah.
many women are being forced to have babies. There are so many things that are happening in this country and world that are evil because of him.
100,000 people, 100,000 Americans who died of COVID because of public health information that the Trump administration deliberately withheld because they thought that releasing it would make the president look bad.
Yeah.
100,000 people.
I remember
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Don't let
and
them off the
above.
cruise ships. I don't want those numbers to get up, so keep them on the ship.
Yeah, keep them on the ship. But you were talking about what the one thing where I would slightly disagree with you in terms of it being conservatism hurting you if you were somebody in show business, and it's always the liberals who want truth, is that that Christian film niche.
Sure.
Where like the Jim Caviezel or
Caviezel.
whatever.
Oh,
yeah, who made that
I haven't
great
seen it.
one good movie, the baseball movie, the time travel baseball movie,
Frequency.
Frequency. Great. One of my favorite movies, Frequency. Then he goes and plays Jesus for Mel Gibson.
Thin Red Line, Thin Red Line. Terrence Malick
Never saw
film as
that.
well. He was the star of that film.
Well, he's only doing Christian movies, and there are a bunch of people like that who are only doing Christian movies, and those movies all make a lot of money because they cost nothing, and they end up making a couple of $100 million. They end up grossing because people who will not go to the movies Christians will go to those. I remember when Passion of the Christ came out, and Passion of the Christ made $300 million. And again, that movie had nobody in it. The script. You could have done some stuff with the story,
Like
but
a whole
but
part.
but but the movie itself it made $300 million, and you had churches that were renting buses with money from the collection plate to take their congregations to the theater to see it.
Wait, was Passion of the Christ the Scorsese film or the Mel Gibson film?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
What was Scorsese's film called about?
The Last Temptation of Christ.
Last
There you
Temptation
go.
of Christ.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that was
Which did not make a lot of money.
Exactly, it was the reverse.
It did not
And
make
that's the one that the claim to fame to that is that Stallone was a finalist to play Jesus.
Oh,
In that movie, he made like the top 3.
I mean, I would say Mel Gibson's career is a great example of how he's a super right wing, super Catholic, like extremist Catholic. Also just generally a piece of shit, a piece of crap, if I can say.
Right.
And he's making a sequel to Passion of the Christ right now that will be out. So it has not. So
A sequel? When it comes back again?
Yeah. No,
what's the sequel?
Second Coming.
What's the sequel?
The Second Coming, and the Second Coming is Trump. That's the sequel.
Yeah.
Passion of the Christ too. I forgot a few things.
Yeah.
Passion of the Christ, Epstein Island.
It's the story of how Easter turned into the bunny. It's that timeline. But the idea being like, and Mel Gibson's probably also sitting on $500 million, if not more. That's a guy who's also, because he funded Passion of the Christ himself and made all that money went to him.
That's right. And
Built-in audience,
here's how conservative Mel Gibson is. Again, after having heard the tapes of how he really feels about women and about people of color
Black
and everything
people.
else. He built he believes that the Catholic Church after Vatican II, if you're not Catholic, is what changed the church so that Mass wasn't in Latin. It's all before I was born. But I guess the Mass used to be in Latin, and the priest used to have his back to the congregation the whole time, and several other things. You couldn't eat meat on Friday, and all this stuff. They changed it. And he thought that made the church too liberal. So once he got rich, he built his own Catholic church in Malibu. And it is, I don't know if it still is, but it was run by a defrocked Catholic priest. And they would hold Mass on Sunday. And why in Malibu? I mean, who's going in Malibu on a Sunday? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to Malibu to hear a Mass in Latin and look at a guy's back for 45 minutes or for an hour? But that's how extremist he is with his. I won't even call it Catholicism because it's not really Catholicism anymore.
But it explains the appeal of MAGA and the cult and everything, because it's born out of religion. It's born out of that kind of belief system. And so that's what makes it so attractive. This one figure, this one thing can turn your life around. Just your salvation lies in supporting this figure. And that's why Kelsey Grammer speaks the way he does, you know?
Have you guys, complete aside, since we're talking about cults, I have taken a deep dive on Allison Mack the last couple of weeks. You know who Allison Mack is? Who was
Yes.
on Smallville. She played Chloe for 10 years. I was a
Oh,
big fan of Smallville, and got sucked into Nexium.
yes.
And to where she became the number
Yeah.
two, and she was the one that was, in charge of branding women's private parts with the cult leader's initials, and saying that it was a symbol of peace and unity or something.
Yeah.
And using a soldering iron to do it,
Oh my
And so
God.
she got 3 years, I guess, and then house arrest for a couple of years, and she's like still got to wear an ankle monitor. And she went to Cal. She got a degree at Cal during her house arrest. They let her get her degree over on online. But there are two really great interviews I want to point you to. One is Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor, has a great interview podcast called Inside of You, I think. And he interviews a lot of people, and he gets good stuff, and he's a great interviewer. And she talked to him because out of all of her friends, because when she was doing Smallville for 10 years, everybody knew she was, especially around the world. She had a million friends. You know how that goes. Then all of a sudden,
No.
nobody. She's a pariah, and he called her to see if she was okay and to see how she was doing. That's why she talked to him. And there is a CBC, a Canadian podcast called Allison After Nexium that is 6 parts long, where they not only talk to her, but they talk to
Wow.
some of the other former cult members. And got to tell you, when I heard about the stuff that she did, about recruiting slaves and setting the slaves up to have sex with the cult leader Keith Raniere, whose
Keith
whole
Raniere.
thing was is that the way that I can help you with enlightenment is you have to have sex with me and my buddy. And I'm serious. I'm not kidding. You have to. That's if you want to reach enlightenment. But if you want to live the way you are, that's your choice. If that's how you want to do your life, that's your choice. But if you want enlightenment, come on upstairs with me. And she was setting them up. Catherine Oxenberg's daughter, India, was one of them. And Catherine Oxenberg from Dynasty was one of the ones who fought.
That's right.
Who played the princess, who played the youngest one, and she was one of the ones who fought. So as you listen to this, she becomes kind of more sane. Because in the beginning of it, even after she got arrested, she was still didn't understand what they did was wrong. They were trying to empower women, enlighten women, all of this stuff. But as more and more and more time went on, she deprogrammed. So I guess the question I want to ask is, when you look at someone like this, and she admits she feels, she breaks down a lot about, I did terrible things, and I didn't think they were terrible things at the time. Was she a victim, or was she a perpetrator's not the word. What's the word I'm looking for?
Complicit.
She was definitely complicit. Was she a victim or a victimizer?
Oh yeah.
Maybe both.
You can be
Maybe
both. Yeah,
both.
you can be both. I think, again, to not to out anyone, but I think people who are in families with alcoholics know that you can be both. You can be a victim of something and also be a victimizer.
Mhm.
That's a good point. Were you talking about my family now? Okay.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I heard some things. I heard
I
some
heard some
things.
things.
But it's just a trip to hear how, and they start normal, and how easy it is to get sucked into a cult, because it started normal. It started as it was a woman's empowerment group that women would come to for meetings, to learn how
Run
to
by a
be.
man.
Well, it was run by a man, but he wasn't running it. A
Oh.
woman, his number two, a woman was teaching them, but she always referred to him in his teachings.
But then when you ascended high enough up the pyramid, when you schemed your way high enough up the pyramid, you met the man.
That's exactly it. That's exactly how it worked. And that's what he did. Before he started this, he was a multi-level marketing guy. He's like an Amway kind of guy. Who was, a cut coat knife kind of a guy is one of those people. So, but it's that easy to get sucked in, and the next thing you know, you're branding women's hoo-haws with a soldering iron.
Well, you wonder, like, you look at what's happening, how many people got on board with Trump in America. And I love watching the show, Who Do You Think You Are? It's on the BBC and it's on YouTube. It's like Henry Louis Gates, the genealogy shows about where people come from. And so many people go back to the times in the Holocaust. And I just read a book called My Name is Selma about a woman who passes non-Jewish and was part of the resistance in the Netherlands. And you just see how it slowly just starts to build. You know, one night you're free, then the next week you can't shop here, then the next week you can't go there. It's just kind of, it's scary
It's
because,
incremental. It's
yeah.
incrementalism.
And is it the grace of God
The
goes,
frog in boiling water.
yeah, it's scary. Like how strong, like I see what's going on in the world now, or you look at certain people like, you know, in England, you know, there was a time, we're talking 100 years ago, before there was any social safety nets, the church would help you. But if you had a woman out of wedlock, you'd have to go to the workhouse and be the poorest of the poor. So
Wow.
what we do to people by not helping them, and I look at now in these times, and we talk good talks, but what do I do to help other people? I don't know what to do. Yeah, I don't know what to do to help.
You're doing it every time you get on stage and you speak the truth. You're doing it.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's maybe I'm being Pollyanna, but that's how I look at it.
no, I mean, you know, I try. I mean, I like taking my camera out and interviewing people on the street in the moment. And I'm in New York. So, you know, I met a guy the other day. This is going to go up on my social media later this week. But he was from Ghana. You must come to Ghana. They will love you. I go, why? He goes, you're white. They will be queen. You will be queen. Okay. So from now on, you can call me Your Majesty. But here's a man driving in a taxi, making me feel so welcome that I must go to his country. I go, this reminds me of America, welcoming the foreigner. Look at us.
Flip the script on you.
You know, but it was so nice. Like, I love those moments with people that show their soul and their heart. And that's real connection. And I feel sad for people who never get to experience that, who live in a world where everybody's other instead of that is my brother and that is my sister. And I really know that's corny, but I really feel that way. Unless I don't like you, then I'm like, I have nothing to do with you. But overall,
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it with this because this is a nice way to kind of piggyback on what it is that you're talking about. And that is, I really worry about the Gen Zers because this is all they know.
Mm-hmm.
This is all.
What
they
age
know.
group is that? I can't keep up.
I can't keep up either. You know,
Basically under 30.
Under
is that what it is?
30.
Under 30 or
Thank you,
Gen Z?
thank you.
I mean, because then there's Gen Alpha, which is like my
Yeah,
like,
yeah. My
that's
3-year-old
15.
granddaughter is Gen Alpha.
Yeah, so it's like, but I'd say anybody who's a young adult in their 20s.
I got 11 and a 14
Jen
year old.
Alpha is not her name. That's not a name that they chose.
No.
You have to have seen K-pop Demon Hunters to be Gen Z. So
Yeah.
Okay. So we're decorating the tree the other night, and me and my daughter and my son-in-law and the 3-year-old, and my son-in-law puts an ornament on the tree and doesn't put it on the branch far enough, the ribbon on the branch, so it falls off. And my 3-year-old granddaughter goes, silly boomer.
silly boomer.
What did you just say?
That's hilarious.
And she says it again. It's like, you're 3 years old. Shut up.
Oh, man.
Silly boomer.
Hilarious. I love
3 years
it.
old. 3 years
I
old.
love it.
So on that, anybody want to plug? Come out. I know you got stuff coming out. Anything you'd like to mention?
I mean, right now I'm just I'm on Substack writing weekly about the fall of America with jokes. So my Substack is called Who's With Me. So join me on my Substack. And I just posted a video today of I visited the Alameda County Community Food Bank. So when you talk about Maureen, like what can we do? You know, every food bank in the country could use your dollars or your elbow grease, and they're all super. And I find it's a super good way to like feel like you did something, but it's already set up for you to do it. You don't have to do a lot of work. They said go over there and lift that and put that over there.
Excellent suggestion.
Or you just give them, and as I say, they would prefer your money because they can stretch your money a lot further than you can.
Right, as opposed to going into Costco and saying, "Here, I bought 70,000 protein bars."
Yeah, exactly. They just keep the receipt and go bring us the money.
Okay.
By the way, just an aside, I love Costco. And I've always loved Costco, but I love Costco even more for 2 reasons. One is that they're suing Trump over the tariffs. If you didn't know that, Costco is suing Trump over the tariffs. But even more so, the CEO of Costco got this huge end of year bonus, and he looked at it and said, "This isn't right. Divide this among the employees."
Oh, yay.
Beta male. Never going to be on Rogan. Blew his chance.
Rogan.
Blew it.
That's not the path to Rogan. I agree, Carlos. That's not the path to Rogan.
No, that's
That's
Not
not
the
the
path.
path.
Not the path. Well, for me,
Carlos,
people.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Maureen.
People, just follow me on Instagram. It's Maureen Langan, Langan, because that's all that matters is how many followers you have. If you say you are national television, you might as well say you were in a silent film in 1912 with Whitney and Gish. So that's the place to follow, and I put up a lot of fun content. And I'm going to go check out the local food bank and see who I can interview and chat with over there too. So thank you for that inspiration, Mr. Bell.
No, I'm a quick fan of Maureen, been a fan of Kamau for a while, Brian as well. So I just love that you mentioned John Fugelsang, like-minded people, and thank you for suggesting food banks because I had forgotten about that. You can always see me on SpongeBob, my series Rock Paper Scissors with Ron Funches and Thomas Lennon. Myself is on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus, so that's a show I'm on. And then I do conventions. My next one is coming up back in Rogers, Arkansas, which is near Bentonville. Which I go to yearly because my nieces and nephews live there. So I'll be there January 16 and 17 at the, I think it's called the Central or the West Arkansas Comic-Con. That's when you can see me live. Follow me on Instagram for all my convention dates and come out and say hello, because the con world is a really cool world where it's kind of as it should be. People can be anything they want, dress the way they want, talk the way they want.
I've been going to
cares.
cons since I was 12 or 13 years old. I've been a comic guy, and I used to produce cons up here. I might produce my first one when I was 16 years old. And it used to be who you'd expect. It was kind of like, dorky guys who didn't fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's so mainstream. And I remember going to a con with my ex-girlfriend who was gorgeous, and I had a Porsche Boxster, and we're going to a con, and I'm thinking I'm going with a good-looking woman to a comic book convention in a Porsche. I wish I could high-five my 15-year-old self.
Yeah.
I just so wish I could high five
your inner child.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Things that two things that I want to mention. I have got a project that I'm working on that I call the Genuine Initiative. My very first solo show was called Not a Genuine Black Man, which I opened in 2004, and it ran for years and years and years. It became the longest running one-man show in San Francisco theater history, TV development, all kinds of off-Broadway, all kinds of things. And then I went on other plays. Then I started reading more and more and more about how this administration is going out of its way to erase the contributions of people of color by banning the Ruby Bridges picture book, Maya Angelou, I Knew Why the Caged Bird Sings, taking slavery exhibits out of the Smithsonian, removing the monument in the Netherlands from the American Military Cemetery, the monuments to black soldiers who were killed in World War II. It is a deliberate attempt to erase the history of African American people and people of color. And my story is about growing up in an all-white Northern California suburb in the 1970s when it was mostly white and redlined and super racist, and us. And I tell the story. So what I decided to do, since they're banning a lot of this stuff in books, and not so much in California, but I decided I'm going to take that show to 10 schools. And I started a GoFundMe so that it wouldn't cost the school anything, and so that it wouldn't cost the audience anything. The audience can come and see it for free. And what'll happen is the shows will be at night, so that way they can't say I'm taking up school time to indoctrinate kids in kindness. And it has to be open to the entire community. It's not just a school thing. We're using the school's theater, but it's anybody who wants to come can come, and it costs nobody a dime. Because nobody would die, except for one thing. We are going to have VIP tickets that are $100, and the $100 tickets will go. There'll be a champagne reception thing afterwards. The school gets 100% of that money, but they have to use it to promote diversity in some way. That's the only thing with that. So what's happened is last night I hit the goal. And so all 10 schools are funded. It'll be throughout 2006. The first two schools have signed up and picked dates. There are several others that are looking. They're all in the Bay Area right now. If this goes well, I'm going to try this in other areas. But if you are in the San Francisco Bay Area, my alma mater, Morel Catholic High School, is going to do it on February 7th. In Hayward, California, in Oakland, California, Bishop O'Dowd High School is going to be doing it 2 weeks later. And so I know that Berkeley High is looking at it, and several other places. They're just trying to find dates. Is really what the thing is, because every school theater has got a million productions and things that are going on. But this is my pushback against the war on diversity, because they're not going to take my history. I'm not going to shut up. They're not going to take my history. So if you would like to support this, I will have the ticket information. Go to briancopeland.com. As soon as we've got it all locked down in terms of how you get the tickets, what the links are, you'll be able to get it there. Second thing I want to mention is my Christmas play, my favorite solo play to do, The Jewelry Box, is at the Marsh in San Francisco this Saturday at 5 o'clock. I think it's a matinee, and then a week from Saturday at the Marin Shakespeare Company in San Rafael. So again, all that information is at briancopeland.com. So W. Kamau Bell, Carlos Salazraki, Maureen Langen, thank you all very much. I appreciate it every time you guys do it. I really appreciate it. Kamau, I was giving you a hard time, but please come back. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Also, I didn't realize we were promoting dates. I'm at the Punchline on December 20th. I didn't realize. I forgot to be professional, promote dates.
Oh, yeah.
December 20th. But that's the day of my show, Marin Shakes, man.
Then don't go to my.
Seriously.
I'm trying to pull people away.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I just booked it right after you said it. I booked the called the Punchline.
Listen, guys, I'm gonna book you both at the Kennedy Center at the same night. It's gonna be beautiful.
Well,
All right, come on. Would you play it? Would you play it?
I did it the night that I've already done it. I did it in February.
Since you've done it,
No, I booked it. I mean, this is the whole story. I booked it before he took it over, and the day he said he was taking it over, I had a show the next night. So I wouldn't do it now, but I did it on the cusp, as they say.
You did it on the cusp. All right, so again, I'm kidding. If you cannot get out to San Rafael, do go to San Francisco and see Kamau. Always a great show. Always worth it.
If you're on the East Coast, I'll be in Catch a Rising Star in Princeton, New Jersey, New Year's Eve, and I'll be at Keller's in Erie, Pennsylvania in January, and a bunch of other gigs in Long Island. But if you follow me, you'll see.
Yeah, and all of the social media information is going to be on the show notes as well. So links to everybody's websites and everything else. And I follow you on TikTok, by the way. Kamau, you do some good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
I just got to tell the three of you, it's a pleasure to have spent some time with you today. You're smart, you're open-hearted, open-minded. I wish you happy and healthy until we meet again.
Thank you.
Right. Well, if I don't see you, can I say this? Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you're into.
I just heard the Dodgers signed Jesus.
All right,
Brian. Jesus
too. They signed Jesus too.
Yeah.
All right, you guys take care. I want to ask you if you like what it is you saw, if you watch us on YouTube or if you listen to us, please like and subscribe. If you're listening to us, go to your podcast provider, give us a 5-star review because it helps people to find the show. We'll be back next week with a whole other panel of comics and I'm sure a lot more crap to talk about. Till then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live.